A man gives his son a birthday present, but when he puts it on, he bleeds in pain. While watching his son wince, the father eerily says he will help him in the future. Never returned home after that. Decades later, Marvin has grown into a man. Yet today, the world is swept by a heat wave and a severe lack of oxygen that is gradually driving the human race to extinction. Luckily, scientific research companies have developed a type of oxygen that allows humans to survive. But when this oxygen is inhaled for long periods of time, it can cause serious lung infections. At this rate, human civilization will come to an end in less than 5 years. Despite this, ordinary people still work overtime to earn oxygen. However, when Marvin buys his wife a new oxygen mask, he violently spits out a mouthful of blood. Marvin knows his wife is infected as well, but there is nothing he can do. Until one day, the boss of the tech company finds Marvin and then brings Marvin to the time machine. The boss told him that a few days ago they received a signal from the future world, and that meant that the environment for 100 years later could allow humans to survive. They try to go back to the future world through time travel so that they can keep the human race reproducing. The reason for finding Marvin is that only Marvin's blood can activate the traveling machine. After a long period of brainwashing by the research company, the simple Marvin decides to give it a try. So it immediately changed into a spacesuit to travel. With a flash of white light, Marvin smoothly arrived for 100 years later. However, just after traveling, he saw his own corpse. The man traveled for 100 years later and actually found his own skeleton on the ground, and the hole in his head was obviously from being shot. He can't believe it and then looks at the skeleton's business card, not realizing that it's exactly the same as his own name. At first, he doesn't want to admit it, but he freezes when he sees Seabone's wristwatch because it's the same one as the one on his wrist. He doesn't understand who could have killed him, but after accepting reality, Marvin takes a picture with his future self and runs to his house to find out. What he doesn't expect to see are the bones of his wife, and even bodies that died with a ventilator. It turns out that in the futuristic world of 2067, there is an extreme lack of oxygen, which is driving the human race to extinction. That's why Marvin traveled for 100 years later with a mission. As long as he can find the time machine to restart for 100 years later, he can bring back all the humans in 2067 to continue to survive. At night, Marvin finds a few wild fruits, not realizing that they contain a strong poison, and soon he gets dizzy. In a trance, he seems to see something flying over. Luckily, the people in the lab realized that Marvin's body was not right, so they sent his best friend to cross over and save him. With his best friend by his side, the two of them soon found a steel door. Who knew that the iron door would open automatically when the doorway gently swiped Marvin's eyes? When the two walk in and take a look, they realize that this dilapidated place is the laboratory from 400 years ago, and even the time machine that travels back in time is dilapidated. Before they could react, their father's shadow flashed out to tell them the truth of the year. In the world of the future, humans are losing oxygen and gradually going extinct. As a heat wave sweeps across the globe, researchers can only try to travel for 100 years back in time to continue to reproduce human civilization. Marvin and his best friend are the survivors who have successfully traveled back in time. Unexpectedly, they just walked here and found their own bones. Flowers and plants are all over the place and vibrant after 400 years, but there is not a single living person on Earth. Obviously, the people in 2067 didn't escape the oxygen crisis at all. It's a good thing Marvin and his best friend find the time machine in time to travel back in time. As long as they can restart the time machine, they can send back all the humans in 2067 and restart human civilization. Unexpectedly, just as they started the time machine, they discovered a shocking secret. It turns out that the person who made the time machine is none other than Marvin's father. At that time, his father tried to take all the humans to 400 years later, but the selfish and egotistical research boss disagreed because he only wanted to take the team to travel back and establish his own kingdom. Just as the two were arguing, boss directly shot the father. It's a good thing that his father had set up a mechanism for the time machine in advance, and only an adult Marvin can restart the time machine, and the wristband in his hand is the only key. What's even scarier is that even his best friend is a villain, sent by boss to spy on Marvin. Meanwhile, the research boss is waiting quietly with his team to cross over. The best friend also reacts to the fact that he is just a pawn of the boss. In the end, he can't accept the reality and chooses to end his life by himself. And for 100 years later, Marvin didn't start the crossing, but sent back some survivable plants and trees. With them, mankind will be able to cultivate them in large quantities and solve the oxygen crisis. At the end of that story, Marvin realizes that his bones have disappeared from the doorway and looks up to see a bustling city outside the forest. Although he is trapped forever after 400 years, he saves all mankind. This movie tells us that we should cherish resources while enjoying life, and that protecting the ecological balance is protecting ourselves.